Welcome back to another episode of the Dudes Some Brews Podcast. I'm Hugo.
And I'm George.
Oh, so
I'm George.
you're white now. Okay.
It's a lot of shit going on. I'm George for today.
I feel you, man. Whatever.
I got glasses on. I'm George.
What are you, like fucking Superman? You're what's his name?
I'm Clark.
Yeah, you're Kent Clark.
I'm Clark. Kent. Clark.
You're like the you look like the
Clark Kent.
the remake that Mexico would have like casted. You know what I'm saying? On Telemundo. That's what you look like. Anyways, guys, welcome back. It's been a while in terms of the audio version. We have the episode 8. It's 8, right? Episode 8 is actually already up on YouTube. So by the time you listen to this segment in this episode 8 will be live on all the other audio platforms. The reason why we have fallen behind, it's because Jorge, who edits the audio stuff, he takes care of all the technological stuff. He is actually finishing up his semester in college. And for, all my college estudiantes out there,
Shit's hard.
When May rolls around, shit gets fucking serious. Like April, May is like, it's the heavy hitter month, man. You're getting hit left and right. It's like Mayweather taking like 6 jabs at your fucking jaw. You know what I'm saying? It's a super busy week for him. And I coach high school soccer. And we don't, as a high school, we don't do a very good job scheduling out games. I have 4 games every week. So I get exhausted, man. Like, try coaching a bunch of little, like, girls, man. It's fun and it's rewarding, and I encourage anybody to go out there and coach any sport, but
You say little girls like...
Well, because I'm out of high school, man. So anything in high school is little to me, even though I'm only fucking 23.
Like you're coaching fucking
18-year-olds.
Pee-wee soccer.
Fucking rec ball. Yeah, so life, man, it's happening right now. And like I said, we don't do this as a full-time thing because we make no money off of this. We do this because we like it and because it's fun. And yeah, so we apologize for falling behind. Another thing is, if you haven't already, go check out our YouTube at 2 Dudes and Some Brews. Like the videos, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. Follow us on our social medias. That'll all be linked in the YouTube video portion. Yeah. And then you can follow us at 2DNSB podcast.
Also be linked.
Yeah. No, but we can't link that. This is for the audio listeners.
Yeah, that's true, but still.
See, look, we're like, our funk is off because it feels like so long since we've sat down behind the mic. But today's episode is, I don't know how to explain it, bro, because I don't even talk about, like, I don't talk about this to like people I'm deciding to talk about it on the podcast. Anyways, for those who follow me on Facebook and stuff, I basically posted how this episode I wanted to focus on mental health, specifically through the point of view of a Hispanic, POV.
Child.
Well, I'm not a fucking child. And how, as a guy, because guys just don't talk. I believe, I don't have the actual number, but I think more men commit suicide than women. Shout out to Professor Bunting.
Yeah.
And all the psychology professors I was at, good old KCC.
Sociology, psychology.
Yeah, really good subjects. I recommend taking them, even if you're not a major in those respective fields.
Definitely do.
Because I took those classes, I understand mental illness a little bit more, especially now that I struggle with it. Now, I have this the other way. Okay, I'm gonna put that there. Shit. And I wanted to do this episode because Jorge is on the opposite end of the spectrum. So I struggle with it. I struggle with like severe anxiety. I don't want to say severe depression, but it can get really bad.
It's you suffer with depression.
Yeah. And I haven't seen a psychologist, because frankly, I don't have the money for one. But
I'm gonna be his psychologist for today. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not.
What are you like? Are you like the Joker and I'm like Harley Quinn?
Yes, I'll be your Joker, baby.
Oh, that's a little kinky. I like that. I'm kidding. But yeah, I really wanted to talk about this because there's been people within our community that have, uh, I'm not gonna say names, but that have gone because they have, struggled with it to the point where, they took their own life away. And this podcast is just to kind of sit back and talk over a beer and really try to explain mental illness through the mind of a dude. And it helps to, the conversation will be elevated because he doesn't struggle with it. So he'll be asking me questions. I'll ask him questions and stuff. And my mother actually watches the YouTube version of this stuff. So this is like, in essence, just like a therapy thing for me. Like, hopefully she watches this and she's like, oh shit.
Sounds fucked up.
Well, fuck you.
I'm
okay.
Just kidding. Chill.
Yeah. And the irony in this video is we're using an antidepressant or a depressant to talk about depression. So, and we'll actually talk about alcohol. In this podcast. I'm not an alcoholic, but
I am. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, so this is like a revenge episode. Okay. But yeah, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because recently, man, I go through some slumps. I go through this is how I knew it was like depression and it wasn't just fucking sadness. Growing up, when I would be sad, it's like a come and go thing and be like, oh, it's whatever. But the older that I got and the more that I was able to kind of conceptualize what I was feeling, it's like, bro, I feel like this more than like the normal human being.
Yeah.
Like it and then I took it upon myself to learn, certain symptoms and, what to look out for to really see if it was more than just, like a specific thing in terms of like, oh, I'm only sad for like a day and then like I'm good the next day. No, it was like long periods of time. Like I think the longest that I was like severely down was like 6-7 months, dude. I would just stay home and do nothing. And I didn't want to do anything. It was a really dark time. And the crazy thing is, I don't have like a hard childhood. I wasn't, by the grace of God, shout out to the man above. I do believe in him. I wasn't raised in a household where,
a broken household.
Yeah. I had both my parents. My parents went above and beyond to get me whatever I needed. I had a loving family. Like my family's so family oriented. Shout out to the Hispanic culture. And so I had everything. So I was confused as to why why was I feeling the way I did. And I bottled everything in.
Do you think it got worse as you got like more into like college and like last years of high school pretty much, or was this like, were you noticing this shit before? Like,
so my senior year was my junior year. So sophomore year was hard in high school because I had I felt out of place. I moved to different high schools, across town and stuff, and I had a lot of friends. Like I wouldn't classify myself as popular, but I was cool with a lot of kids. But I felt out of place. I felt like I had no place within 3,000 students, right? And I would go home and I would just chill and, do things. And sports kept me active. I did everything I could to, stay out of the house or whatever.
Right.
And be a good kid. But it got really, really bad about my senior year when life really started kicking me in the sack. You know what I'm saying? And I believe it got harder, to answer your question. It got harder because of the societal pressures that the Hispanic community sets upon their children.
Yeah.
Because I'm a senior, okay? So up to this point, my parents have been helping me all through school, getting me what I needed, but now it's college. And it gets harder through that transition period because, for one, I'm a first-generation college student. So, they don't know what they don't know the process of getting into a college, applying to a college, and they don't know any of that stuff. And it's like being tossed into the real world with no preparation, and you are the first one in your family. In our household, bro, yeah. There's no one that goes off to school and does this, and it's just expected of you, right? And so I'm being tossed into a lot of shit, and my parents, they couldn't help me. There was a couple arguments where it was like, yeah, like, you know, why can't you help me or whatever? But at the end of the day, now that I'm older, it's like, well, you didn't know what to do. Like, I was in and out of like counseling room, you know, getting my schedule up, applying for fucking loan, like all kinds of shit on my own. And the whole time it's like, do I really want to go to school, or is it, you know, to go back what I said a couple episodes ago, is am I living, you know, my parents' American dream? And so school kicked off, you know, I was good after, you know, after all that, I was good. And then freshman year came out. Freshman year was the hardest point of like, no, actually, you know what? Freshman year of college was when it got really bad. I failed all my classes. I was starting to lose the passion I had for soccer. So I played soccer all my life, high competitive soccer. I was extremely passionate. That passion just dissipated out of thin air. That should have been my first red flag, because one of the symptoms of depression is you lose passion in some of the things you found joy in.
You really love, yeah.
And it became a chore going to practice every day. I stopped caring. I didn't try. I didn't give 100%. But to me, it was just like, oh, like, I just, you know, just not the same anymore. So I was an athlete, a full-time college student, and at the same time, I stopped going to class. So in high school, I was a really good student, you know, top 10% in my graduating class, 4 whatever GPA. So I was good, but I failed literally every class. And at the time, I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to be. So I ended up losing, during that time period, I lost my grandfather. So I was in and out of the hospital, and I lost him. So I was literally like, shit. Life literally just grabbed me by like los huevos, and it just kicked me, man. It was hard. And as time went on, I ended up finding, you know, what I wanted to study. And it got harder. You know this, you know, school just gets fucking harder.
Dude, it never gets easier.
And I can't, you know, as Hispanic children, we can't go to our families and be like, yo, dad, yo, mom, I need help. I need, you know, like, I don't know how to like come to you because I'm stressed. And the reason why we don't do that is because let me ask you something. The moment you talk to your dad or your mom about stress as a Hispanic individual, what's the first thing that they do? They compare it to what they faced as children.
Yeah.
Everything, it becomes a competition. Like, oh, what are you stressed about? You're going to school. You have a job. You have it easy. And, you know, they compare it to the 1950s or whenever our parents were fucking born. You know, they're not that old, but you know what I'm saying? It's like they start talking about
walk 10 miles to school every day.
Yeah, I walked 10 miles to school. You know, I had to like steal horses from the back.
I see what you're saying.
And so like it becomes a competition. So as a kid, you lose. You have, as a guy, everything is through the perspective of a guy. As a guy, you can't come to mom and dad and be like, yo, mom, I'm stressed because, or dad, I'm stressed because. It all of a sudden becomes a competition. They make you feel guilty for feeling stressed because they're like, well, you don't know the hardships that I had to go through as a kid.
Right.
Well, no shit. I was born in America. Thank God. I'm so glad that I wasn't born in Mexico during your times, because that shit would have sucked. I'm proud to be Hispanic. I'm proud to be Latino, but that shit would have sucked.
Yeah.
But just because you don't understand me, that like I understand you, because guess what? I wouldn't want to fucking do any of the stuff you did growing up. But all of a sudden, like when I want to voice what I have on my mind, it's like, no. You can't feel that way because I had it harder. Like, dude, I'm not trying to be in competition with either of you. I just want you guys to hear me the fuck out.
Right. Yeah, it happens to like every, like you said, every like Hispanic coming like as a first.
I mean, it could be the
like
same for like
generation.
you know, like white American, you know, Caucasian people,
yeah,
African Americans.
I mean, honestly, yeah, anybody like you like mostly with like this generation to like our parents' generation, where they had it so much harder, they had to do all this and that, and so that's what, like, you know, it kind of, like you said, it feels in a way like they're just trying to be like, well, why would you, like, you know, we never suffered from this, why should you have it a lot easier, this and that, but yeah, like you said, it maybe as a guy, it is a little bit harder, not because like, and it's harder for a guy because in our culture, bro, and even in society in general, like we are expected to not show emotion. You're expected to just not really not show emotion, yeah, but like be like just suck it up, like, you know, you're a guy,
like you're a dude, shut up, suck it up. you're a
Double
guy, like, you
standards.
can't, yeah. I don't want to say it's double standards.
Nah,
It's just
I'm
like
just kidding.
the way society has just worked up to this point. It's like girls are allowed to be emotional because
Because
they're
girls are known
because
as
it's
the
feminine.
emotional.
Yeah, because emotion is quote unquote feminine, and as guys, we like conceptualize that as like, oh, okay, if that's feminine, then I gotta bottle shit in. So I'm stressed as fuck all throughout high school because I refuse to let my parents help with anything. I mean, they help me here and there, but most of the college that I went to, all the expenses and stuff I paid for. I'm working at a shitty job. We live in a time. You and I live in a time where it's a lot harder to get paid for what we get the short end of the stick from people from a generation before us that fucked everything over. I'm not gonna get into that because that's a whole different topic. So college is a lot more expensive. I am expected to graduate from college because if you don't, Hispanic parents literally are like, well, I came here, to do for you to do this. Well, first off, you didn't even know if you were having children for God's sake. So, your argument's out the question. But it's also a thing because like, if you don't do it, you feel like you failed them because they want to compete with every other Hispanic family in the damn community. Because they want bragging rights. They want to go up to other parents, Hispanic families, like, yo, my kid is he's in college, he goes to so and so school and all this stuff, and it's like they compete amongst each other, and so you feel all that pressure as a student, especially as the first generation. My brother, I mean, I don't talk to him. That's because we're guys. We don't fucking talk, but you're expected to do all this, and it's like, if you want to give up, it's not that you want to give up. You're just like, dude, the school is not for me. But you can't tell your parents that because they won't get it. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're expected to meet all these, unwritten criteria in like the Hispanic law book, as first, second generation Mexicans in America, and you feel that burden. There was times where like I would sit in my room and I would cry because like I failed a fucking exam that dropped my grade down to a fucking D, and I'm like, dude, I'm paying for this. And if I can't pass this class that I've already taken twice, I can't get the degree that I want. So the fear of failure in my parents' eyes, it's like that's a whole like next level stress.
Yeah.
Dude. And so was it my senior year? Yeah, it was about last year. I had gone out the night before and I drank and I blacked out. And that goes back. I love beer. I really love beer, okay? But I noticed that back in the day, when I would feel down or when I would go through my episodes of being down, I would turn to alcohol. Like when I would go out on the weekend, bro, it was just like, I'm gonna drink till I physically can no longer drink. And the next day, it would just plague with anxiety. And like I said, this shit's a depressant. So the next like 2 weeks were even worse in the 2 months that led up to the the moment that I was drinking. And it wasn't like I was drinking every single day to cope with it because I wasn't an alcoholic. It was like every 2-3 weeks when my anxiety allowed me to go out with friends. It was like, all right, now you're here, let's forget about all that shit that you're holding in. So I would just like drink and drink and drink, and there was no stopping me. I was like, just whatever I saw, I drank. I didn't care what the percentage of alcohol was in that thing. It was down, man.
Whatever it was, if it had alcohol, shit, he picked up the hand sanitizer ones.
Yeah.
Went to town.
Yeah. Oh no, that's like beyond alcoholic, bro. That's like the boss of alcoholics in a video, like the last boss in a video game. Bro. That's fucked up.
It's like 90-something% alcohol.
Damn. You'd get drunk just whiffing that shit. But where was I? So the day, so it was a Saturday. I went out Saturday, came home that night. Sunday I wake up and like I was having a panic attack, dude. Like this was like the first time I legitimately broke down to the point that I had my first panic attack. No, it was like my second or third, but this one was worse than all the other ones. It was early in the morning. I break down. I didn't break down the house, like the door. But I knocked on the door. My mom she had just gotten up. And she was like, what's wrong? Like, my mom's got that motherly instinct, like, yo, what the fuck's up? Like, what's going on? And I just sat on the bed because it's the first time that I'm ever telling anybody anything. And eventually I got to the point where I broke down and, I cried and I told her everything. And she was like surprised. She was like, the first question that they always ask, why are you sad? And as someone who struggles with depression, it's like, I wish I knew. The only thing that I understand is that there's a chemical imbalance in my brain that doesn't produce enough serotonin or dopamine or whatever it is. Pretty sure it's serotonin.
Melatonin. Oh, no, that's the sleep.
That's the sleep.
Melatonin.
So she's looking at me, and I was doing this when my dad wasn't home. My dad had gone out to the store, and I was hoping that my dad wasn't gonna I would be, in a good state of mind to avoid my dad. And I don't want people to think that my dad was some dude that I feared. No, I fucking love my dad. My dad's one of the most supportive figures in my life. But when it comes to being emotional, you just don't talk to your pops. This goes for beyond Hispanic culture, but for us as Mexicans and Latinos, it's like you're not supposed to get to that point where you broke down like that. I mean, have you ever seen your dad legitimately cry? Your grandpa, your grandfather, have you ever seen him cry? Your uncles, have you ever seen them be emotional?
No.
Exactly.
It's like you don't normally see that, but then again, it's one of those things where they kind of just well, we can't do that in front of our kids because
because we're seen as weak. We're the head of the household. It's deemed as a characteristic that doesn't make you a man, which is dumb. And my dad ends up coming home, and he walks into the room because he hears me crying. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I tell him what I told my mom. I was like, "Yo, Dad, I've it's getting to the point where I'm having, suicidal thoughts." Luckily I didn't take. I took I stopped after the fifth pill of Tylenol, and it was 500 milligrams, bro. So I'm already exceeded. Some people just a whole handful, and they just drink it. I stopped after the fifth one when I realized that I was like, no, hold up, we can't do this. Not yet, anyway. That was my thought process. I told him that. No, I didn't tell him that. Shit. Well, I think my mom's gonna figure about this now, but I told him that I was having suicidal tendencies, that suicidal thoughts, and that I was a victim. I was a prisoner of my own mentality, and when I visit. If I get stuck in between, my own skull, that's when it's the scariest because it's so hard to get out of it. It's like having another person in the back of your head just telling you everything that you don't want to hear. And so I told him, and my dad, he's looking at me like, you have a good house, you drive a nice car, you're in school, you have clothes, you don't starve. I'm like, dude, that doesn't mean anything. You're acting like I choose to feel this way. I don't. So he's making me feel guilty for being, feeling this way.
Right, because then it's we're giving you everything.
Yes, why the fuck are you crying? He didn't say it like that. He wasn't rude about it.
No, but that's what you feel at the time when they're telling you this stuff.
That was the first and last time that I opened up to my parents about it. Do I still struggle with this shit? Yes, but not to the extent that I have in the past. Because I've actually educated myself to kind of get myself out of that mindset, and we'll talk about that later. So that's where the problem lies as a Hispanic male, dude. Because you can't go to your dad and your mom, and as a guy, Mexican moms tend to worry. So you don't want to bear that burden. You don't want... The thing with depression is you don't want to feel like a burden to other people. So I don't want to feel a burden to my mother that she has to worry every time I walk out that house. But if I don't talk to her, then she's going to get it. My biggest fear and my biggest thing is that one day she'll get a phone call that I did something stupid that would affect her for the rest of her life.
Right.
Because when it was so bad, I would be inconsiderate of what my mom would feel if I would do something to that, to that extreme. And I can't go to my dad because my dad's gonna make me feel guilty for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I hate how our culture has kind of glorified being this macho guy.
Yeah, that kind of falls a lot more with in the Hispanic culture where it's grow some huevos and like suck it up, that type of thing.
Like I said, have you? Okay, let me tell you this. When your dad, so you've never really seen your dad emotional, and I know your dad really well. I've never seen him emotional.
Right.
But when they get drunk,
that's when
everything comes out.
Right.
Has your dad? I mean, has your dad ever like without being under the influence of alcohol? Has he ever told you like, "I love you," like sincerely, like gave you a hug? And
said, like, well, here's and like what we said at the beginning. Me and him are both on like opposite of spectrums.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons for me is because although my parents were always like hard on me as a kid and everything, once I started getting older, they realized like, we can't keep being this like, like that, like he, like I think they realized that the fact that like being from, like a Hispanic culture, but growing up with like, the culture here, they realized that shit isn't the same.
Yeah.
So in a way, like, my parents they were a little more considerate of the fact that, like, I know you're not growing up the same, but, don't be a lazy shit in the house.
Yeah.
So that was, like, one of the things. But, like I said, they were a little more understanding. I know you talked about going to, like, a school of, like, 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And feeling like you don't fit in there.
You did the opposite.
I did the opposite.
You went to
like,
school. It was like a bunch of it was like 150 people.
It's like 300.
I can count you on my toes.
Well,
dog.
we knew like everybody there, and it's like and even then you'd still get the people that that feel like they don't fit.
Yeah. But high school.
But
the thing is, like, high school's scary, dog.
But like like the high school I went to, you knew everybody. It was one of those things where like everybody knew you, but in a way, it also kind of was like one of those like what do they call it? Fuck, they call it like a weapon with like a
double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword, yeah. Because like while you could feel a little like you fit in more, it could be one of those things where like you fuck up once and everybody knows you fucked up, right? Yeah. So it was like I took high school like pretty mellow. It wasn't one of those things where like I wasn't like popular at all, but I wasn't also like like I knew everybody. I got along with everybody. I never really got like. How like high school beef and all that shit. I just kept it cool with everybody.
Yeah, see, for high school, for me, it was like I guess you would consider me popular because I was cool with a lot of people, but at the same time, the fuck, bro, you got mosquitoes down here, dog. No, but it was like I was like I'm really good at like masking myself. I have one of my bad. I'm getting text messages from coaching, man. This shit never stops.
You're gonna be here, right?
No, but where the fuck was I? I was really good at masking myself as being someone that was extremely social. I have this thing called a social meter, and it's like never full. It's like it's here, and like the moment it's like a gas tank, bro. Once it crosses the halfway line, it's like red alert, go home. And if it's not even full on the day I wake up, bro, don't ask me to hang out. Don't ask me to do shit. I'm staying home. I like being home because that's where I feel safe. But I'm really good at masking myself as someone who is the exact opposite of depressed.
Right.
That's why I always try to mask it, like my genuine emotion behind comedy. I mean, you know me, dude. I'm always cracking jokes.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like I am too, but I kind of see like I don't know, man. Like when it comes to like comedy, like I love comedy, and I think that might be one of the other reasons where it's just like
when Robin Williams died,
dude, like that shit hit hard.
That shit hit me, man, because like
I know, like
every time I see a story about someone who committed suicide or someone did it, that makes me afraid, especially when it's somebody like him or someone like Mac Miller. I mean, that wasn't a suicide, but I mean, he was coping with shit.
Yeah.
As a guy, he was coping with shit, and he turned to drugs.
Right, but
to escape that, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
so when people that have everything and they go through this stuff and and they ultimately make that decision to end it all, it makes me wonder like when am I gonna have enough?
Right, and the reason that hit me was just because like holy shit, like he never really like talked to anybody about it, and shit, who knows, maybe he didn't even know he had it, and then it's like one of those things like fuck, well maybe like it'll just hit me like all of a sudden like one day, and it's a scary thought, but then it's like, well, I've never really had, felt that feeling, so I can't really like say, that I have it, and then all of a sudden one day I'm just gonna like get hit with it. No, but like what you were saying is like have my parents or have my dad especially, because I'm like my mom does it all the time. Like it's like especially like moms loving they'll come to you, how was your day? They'll give you a hug, whatever. They'll give you a kiss, and with my dad, it was never that like relationship where it was like, you know, the same thing. But I think like once I started to get a little bit older, it was just one of those things where like I realized my parents were letting me do a lot more things. They were letting me out a lot more. And it was just one of those things where like maybe I wouldn't, you know, always be like, you know, love you, dad, or whatever. But I'll be like, all right, I'm going here, you know, I'm doing this. Love you guys, see you soon, whatever. So then it like slowly like we just kind of got a little more comfortable with each other. I know especially like also like I have one brother, and with my brother, he's like I can seriously say that he is literally like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Because I can literally just like hang out with it. Like if I don't have anybody to hang out with, I know for sure that I have like my brother, and he's a little shithead. Yeah. But like it's like I never feel like in the way like lonely.
And it's like, and I asked that question because like, I don't question my dad's love at all. I know my dad loves me, and I know he's like, and like, but it's never genuine emotion. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like my dad, if I do something good that he's proud of, it's like, I'm proud of you, and it's just like a hand on the shoulder, right, yeah, like a thumbs up.
Proud of you, son.
But like, it's never like, and I'm not trying to sound like, you know.
Like, no, and like I understand, like because like when you say things like this, it comes off like you don't want to sound like ungrateful, and
like I'm glad my dad's been a part of my life, and I'm glad he's done everything he's done for me. I know I don't question his love, but it takes a toll on you eventually because we're so groomed as men from what we see. You know, we see our uncles, our grandparents. You know, we don't see. Like, my dad goes up to my sister and is like, oh, I love you, Mika. I love you this. I love you that.
Right.
Bro, I think without, you know, including alcohol, I don't think he's ever said he loves me, like, maybe once. Maybe once. Right. I've been alive for 23 fucking years, bro. Yeah. And my dad has told me, like, I know it, you know, sometimes you just have to hear it, man. I encourage any Hispanic parent out there that's out there, like, especially fathers, like, remind your son, even your daughter, like remind them that you fucking love them, because you know, every now and then, I mean, there's a point in time where you question it because you don't hear it enough. You know, tomorrow isn't promised, tomorrow isn't given. You guys don't understand the stress that, you know, people of our age like go through, and you don't, you know, especially as a guy, like if you're a Hispanic dad or even if you're someone who's struggling with depression, like talk to your parents about it. Talk to your dad about it. Be like, yo, dad, you know, I'd appreciate it every now and then, you know. At first, they're not going to get it. And I feel like they're not going to get it because it's not that they don't care or that they want to sound like they don't want to make you feel guilty. That's not their intent. I think it comes from a lack of education.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, if I told my dad, like, I have lack of serotonin, you know, being produced in the back of my, like, brain, he's gonna be like, what the fuck, what kind of drug is serotonin? What are you kids smoking these days? You know what I'm saying? It's the lack of education. So I feel like if you struggle with it, you have to educate your parents. Like, you have to sit down. Like, that's step number one, and that's what helped me. I've only opened up to him about it once, but I broke it down. I'm like, this is what it is. This is why, like, I don't know why I feel this way, but this is what it is. It has nothing to do with like an actual feeling. It's like, as much as I try to be happy, like everything just, it doesn't work out in the back of my head. I Googled it. I've given them, you know, the information that they need. And education is the first step.
I think,
but I think in order for us to get away from that stigma, it's gonna start with us. And what I mean by that is when you become a father, and when I become a father, we cannot fall into the same shit that our dads did, our grandpas did, you know, our uncles, which is, I'm not gonna show emotion. I'm gonna bottle everything in. Because let me tell you something. My dad and my mom, they've been married for over 20 years. They're happy. You know, every relationship has they have fights and stuff.
Right.
And I've noticed, because it affects my relationship at times too, where I don't talk to anybody, so I bottle everything in, dude. I've seen my dad do it. He doesn't talk to anyone. He doesn't talk to me. He doesn't talk to my mom, because we've been groomed as men to just hold shit in, right? So when we have that one bad day that just causes us to break, what happens? We when they have that breaking point, we all get it. Like your dad is in like the worst mood. He's treating like, oh shit, dad, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Or like he's a little bit more aggressive towards, you know, the mom, or or he's just in an awful, disgusting mood.
Yeah,
And you
and,
know
like,
that's not your dad. But the more that I've realized, because I do it when I bottle everything in, because my girlfriend, you know, she's heaven sent. You know, shout out to God. She's literally a divine angel. She tries to get me to talk, but I don't want to. I don't talk because I don't want her to feel like, one, I don't want her to worry, because if she's worried, she becomes stressed, then I get even more stressed, and it's just a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But if I'm bottling shit in, and eventually, there's 7 days in a week. One of those days, I'm just gonna have the shittiest day, and I'm gonna let it out on her, on my sister, on my brother. I'm gonna be disrespectful to my parents, and that's because I don't have that outlet where I'm talking to someone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing too. Like, I feel like my parents have been, like I said, like at first it wasn't like that, where like, you know, but like I think once you know, like life started to hit a little more, I know for sure, like I could always go to like my mom. At first, like it was my mom, just my mom, because like you said, they got that like that instinct of always asking you like what's wrong. So then, you know, you talk to them, you open up, and then you let them know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then like, but then I don't know if you've ever gotten this where like you tell your mom something and then she tells your dad, and then you get kind of mad because you're like, why would you tell dad?
Yeah.
But then in a way, like, you know, whatever issues we would have or whatever, when my dad would find out, and then like that's when my dad started like, you know, like, oh shit, you know, I should probably do something as well.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to get the more genuine care from my dad, and that really does help. Like,
yeah.
Like, don't get like, you know, I'm fortunate enough to say that, you know, I've never struggled with this, and that's because like just the family I grew up in.
But see, I have the family.
That's what I'm saying. But no, I'm saying like it's just like the way like, it's just the way like, because what happens now is like, whether any day I have off work or any time that I have off work, if it's in the afternoon, my parents like they work in the morning as well, or whatever, the regular 9 to 5. We get home, and if I'm off, I'm sitting at the dinner table with them. You know, we're talking, we're like throwing jokes. My dad's always making like some joke or whatever, and I feel like just that, like you realize, like, you know, holy shit, like, you know, I'm genuinely living a happy life. So when you start like getting away from that, like I don't want to like, you know, say anything like, you know, like I don't like your parents don't do it or anything, but like when you went into college, you started living off on your own a little bit more, right?
Oh, dude, that was the worst year of my fucking life. And
that's what I'm saying. So like you got away from that. You got away from like being with your family.
That's why I came back home.
And that shit like really does affect you. Like you don't realize how much it affects you until you start getting away from it.
Yo, shout out to the Hispanic culture, man, because I don't want to like throw anybody under the bus, but we're so fucking family oriented. If I didn't have my family, man, I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it 100. I would probably be in a casket. I would be, and that I don't want to get dark or gloomy or anything, but if it wasn't for my family specifically, I don't think I'd be here. I would not be sitting here talking to you about this.
And I think one of the other like things too was like, once I think like, you know, me and you have a pretty good friendship too. So like to the point where like we kind of like, we like if me and you were like to need something, we'd be like, yo, no.
Yeah, but I'm gonna touch back on you that because this goes back to being a dude. But let me go back to the thing is like how to break that stigma of not, you know, being emotional as a guy. Because so I transitioned that into we bottle everything up, so we take it out on everybody. I guarantee you, if I ask your girlfriend, she's like, "Well, yeah, sometimes he just doesn't talk, and he just like for whatever reason, I catch him in a bad mood." My girlfriend has seen like, you know, she deals with a lot of my shit because I don't want to talk, and I'm trying to program my brain and, you know,
I feel like
hold myself account to my own actions so I can talk, so I avoid that stuff.
With girlfriends though, it's just like one of those things where like you don't want to like, I feel like it just like you do it on you like your mind is just wired as a guy to like be like you don't want to worry your girlfriend or you don't want to make them like feel
and that goes back, but
bad.
that even goes back into marriage. Like that's what I say.
That's
like your dad doesn't talk to your. I guarantee your dad and your mom they have a great relationship. I see it. My parents have a wonderful relationship, but I guarantee you my dad doesn't talk about the shit that's on his mind. When his dad passed away a couple months ago, I was terrified because I knew my dad wasn't going to talk to my mom about how he felt. That's the first time I saw my dad feel down, but even then he didn't shed a tear because like I said, we're programmed as men to not show emotion. When we were at the last you know, church service that we did because he was buried in Mexico, he didn't cry. I'm over here bawling my eyes out. Like if I would have lost my dad, I'd lose myself. And so seeing my dad like just like not like cold-hearted, but like being strong for us. Which I get it, but it's like, dude, like, and I get people cope differently, but it's like even something like that. My dad shed one tear, and that's when he broke the news to me. You know what I'm saying? But in order for us to break that stigma, to have our children when we're ready to have children, is we have to be emotional with them, bro. When I'm ready to make that transition as a father, and I have a boy, because I'm gonna let my, like, of course it's my, like, if I have a girl, I'm gonna let her know that I love her every day. Like my dad told my sister all the time. I'm gonna let my boys know that, like, yo, dad loves you. It's not gonna be like, I'm proud of you. No, it's gonna be like, come here, give me a hug, give dad a hug. I love you, kid. I love you, son. And if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to break those habits that we have set up amongst each other to not talk. I'm like, hey, whatever I name my kid. Hey, Zygote, come here. Yeah, come here real quick. Let me talk to you, man. Like, I'm having a bad day, and you build that friendship, because if you build that friendship with your kid, guess what? When he's having a bad day at school, if he's getting bullied, he's gonna come up to dad and be like, "Yo, dad, like, shit's going down. Shit's going down," and he cries. It's okay to cry. Like, we have to train our kids to, especially in our culture, that it's okay to cry. That doesn't make you less of a man.
Right.
Because I bottle all this shit in, and I don't go to anybody, because I've never seen my dad cry. I've never seen my uncles like flat out be like, this shit gets real and you could be emotional. It's like, it's always like macho, soy muy macho. I'm a man. Like, this is me. We gotta be strong for our ladies, for our families.
And it's always gotta be strong for, like,
shit,
everybody else.
bro. That shit fucks with you, man.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I'm living in, like, I want to talk, but I can't talk, because then I'll stress out my partner. And if I get her to worry, and she becomes stressed about it because she's so worried that she's not doing her job as a partner to make me feel good, which she shouldn't even bear that burden, because if you're struggling with depression, it's your problem, not anybody else's. That's why a lot of people don't talk about it. I can't go to my parents because they don't understand it, and your dad makes you feel guilty about it, and your mom just doesn't get it. You don't want to worry your mom because Mexican moms are gonna worry. So you're stuck in this, like, fucking you're stuck in this predicament where you can't talk. And if anybody, by any means, if you're a Mexican parent or you're listening to this, especially if you have boys, man, just, if you're a guy, just let your let your son know, like, hey, I'm proud of you, kid. I love you. And not none of this patting in the back bullshit. Like, legitimately give him a hug and just remind him, because at the end of the day, tomorrow isn't promised, and you probably don't know that they're struggling with shit, man.
Yeah.
My dad didn't know I was struggling with this. He thought I was straight. He thought I was just cool. And when I opened up, I mean, he gets a little bit more now. Every now and then he'll be like, "Hey, everything good? You're a little off today," because I educated him and be like, "Hey, look, I need you to look out for this." I started coaching. I found something that I fell in love with soccer again. Lost that passion when I was, like, in the toughest moment of my life. I stopped, bro. You know me. I play video games like it ain't shit. I took a year. I could not pick up a video game for more than 15 minutes for a year. That's how I knew that shit was, like, serious.
Yeah.
So luckily I found, and the thing is, when I coach, people think, oh, you're such an outgoing guy. You're an outspoken dude. How can you be, like, when I open up to some of my kids, they're like, wait, you struggle with this? I'm like, yes, dude, I'm a fucking human being. When I stream, I put on a fake persona. In the moment that stream goes off and I'm feeling down, bro, I'm in my room locked up in the dark, like, contemplating life, and just, like, I start losing my own battle again.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, the argument is made that you control how you feel, right? That's like the main argument.
Right.
I'm 50-50 on that. A lot of people who struggle with depression, they'll be like, no, you can't control it. I'm gonna call you people out. If you struggle with this, I'm gonna call you out on your bullshit right now. Yes, you can't control the chemical process that's happening in your brain that, produces the chemicals that you need to feel genuinely good every single day.
Yeah.
However, it took me 7 months of me not doing shit to realize, to take control of my life again. I'm not going to let you win. It's going to take a lot of willpower. This shit is not easy. You have to find things that you are passionate about. Try new things. You have to get in the driver's seat, and you have to steer yourself in the right direction. Because it's like you're picture yourself being in a car. Depression is on your right. You're driving
with a fucking knife.
Not with a knife. They have a hand on the steering wheel and they're trying to drive you off the road.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to, like, take control of the steering wheel back and try to, prevent yourself from, veering off of where you need to be. Because if you firmly believe that like you have no control over it, you're gonna lose that battle every
Right, and
single
that's
time.
that's like one of the things too.
I got into streaming on Twitch, right? Because I was like, I need something that's gonna allow me to escape, even if it's for 5-6 hours a day, to let me feel happy, let me feel alive. I picked up this coaching position, greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life, because I'm building these relationships with kids, and I want to be that individual that they can go to. Like if they're feeling down, like you could talk to me. I'm not a fucking therapist by any means, but yo, I can relate to you because we're nearly kind of the same age. I mean, I wasn't in high school like 50 years ago. I literally just came out. You can relate to me because we're going through the same shit because we're like basically in the same generation. I started doing things that allowed me to escape my mental thoughts. Do I go back? Yes. Do I catch myself being down? Yes. But because I was able to take account for how I feel, I was able to do things. I went to go see a fucking therapist on campus. I would have never done that shit 2 years ago, but I was like, you know what? I need to do this. I can't keep telling myself that I am not in control. Doing little things, eating healthy, going outside, getting some fucking sunlight, texting somebody, be like, let's hang out. Like, even if it's the hardest thing you can do, you taking account for your actions is going to do wonders. And if you're really struggling with it like I did, it's going to be hard. You're going to be like, I can't do this. You just have to be ready. You literally have to strap up, and you gotta be willing to go toe to toe with this thing, and you gotta be like, no, I'm not gonna let you win. It's always gonna be there. You're not gonna get rid of it. No medication in this world is gonna get rid of it. No drug is gonna make you escape the feelings that you have. And another thing is that I want to talk about is back to your friend thing. Like, yeah, if I needed something, I know you got me. If you needed something, but as guy friends, I have my tight circle, bro. I love these boys to death. Like all my group of guy friends, you know who you are. I fuck with you heavy. I will take a bullet for you any day of the week. However, let me ask you something. When have you had a one-on-one talk with your boys about how you feel emotionally?
No,
probably never.
You never, because you don't want to come off as like you literally as a bitch.
And like that's not to sugarcoat it, because that's how we feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No bitch.
I wish I had a guy friend, and I have really close guy friends. Like I see them as blood, different mothers, but we share the same blood. I wish I had that guy friend that I can go to and be like, hey, bro, like I'm feeling down. You know, I'm having these thoughts. Because if you were to come to me that way, even though I understand it, I would be like shell shocked because I'm not used to having a guy come up to me asking for help. I would look at you like, oh shit. Like, even though I struggle with it, I would look at you and not in a weird way to make you feel uncomfortable, but I wouldn't know what to say. I would be like,
you don't know how to like how to like
because we see it as feminine, bro.
Right.
Like,
well, not really like that, but like just like you don't know, like no one's ever done this to you, so you just like you're like, fuck, what do I do? Like, do I?
If it was my girlfriend, it's a different thing.
Tell them?
Like if it's like a girlfriend or like a friend that's a female and they came up to you when you like you wouldn't know what to say because you want to be there because it's like all of a sudden your brain is like rewired. It's like, oh, I'm the guy. I gotta make you feel safe. You know, I gotta like coach you out of this. If it's a guy friend, you're like. 9 times out of 10, the conversation would go like this. You would tell me how you feel, and I'd be like,
damn,
bro, that's crazy.
I think,
and it's like, I know how you feel, man, but you know things get better, man. Like you're doing good things, man. Just hit me up tomorrow and let me know how you feel. That's it. There's no context. You as the guy that come up to the guy asking for help, to your guy friend, you didn't get what you wanted off your chest, and now you feel worse because it's like, oh shit, bro, you didn't even give me advice. Like, am I a burden?
And then it's like if you say a little too much, I'm like, shit, now he knows. Now he thinks I'm a bitch. But no, I think that, and then one of the shitty things that like, although like I said, I'm on the opposite of like that spectrum of where like I don't feel this shit. But one of the shitty things that sucks about it is like because I don't feel it. I have no idea what the hell like you guys are going through.
Even someone that struggles with it. If a guy came up to me, bro, I'd be like, damn, bro, that's crazy. But like you good?
Yeah.
But with my friends, I have a friend. She's a female. And she struggles with it heavy. When she comes up to me, it's like, yo, what can I do to help you? But if it was like my boy, I'd be like, yeah, bro, I'll help you. Just let me know. But even then, you probably wouldn't ask me for anything. You'd be like, oh, I just wanted to hear you, talk it out. But the conversation lasts like 2 minutes. We as men have to be able to hold conversations for more. We have to be able to express ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I would kill, dude. I would do anything to have a guy friend that I can go to. Yes, I got my girlfriend. But like I said, we have all this time we've been programmed from the shit that we've grown up into that like as guys we can't do that. I that's a lot of retraining I have to do to my brain. That's what I'm saying. Like we break that stigma by allowing our children, showing the guys that are our sons in the future to be able to express what they feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we have to be. If they see dad doing it, they're gonna be like, oh, it's okay. But yeah, like I would kill, dude, to have like a guy friend, like one of my close guy friends.
What I'm going more towards though is like, even with like my girlfriend or any like female like were to come up to me and be like, I'm feeling like down and shit. In my head, like I just can't, like and that's like one of the things that sucks. Like I'm like I don't know what to respond to that. And my girlfriend like calls me out for it like all the time, and it's just like, well, and I'm genuinely like I'm sorry, but I just don't know what to say to you. Like I'm just like
damn, no, you're just a heartless bastard.
Fuck you.
Like when my girl's like depressed, like when she feels sad or anything, like I try to do everything, bro. But see, when it comes to her, when it comes to her, or if it was my sister, like I know what it feels like, and so I don't want you to feel like, because like now I feel like as a guy, it's like I have like this is my civil duty to make you feel better because I'm a guy. Yeah. But if you were to come up to me, it's like,
shit,
hey bro, you're a dude, like it's okay. Even though I understand that that's not how we should think.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm hypocritical, but that's how we've been programmed.
That's how it comes out, right?
Yes, that's what society's been saying.
It's like whether you think about it or not, that's just how it comes out.
Exactly. Right? This is why dudes commit, they have higher suicide rates. Yep. This is why guys are tend to be more aggressive because we don't know how to. And that's not an excuse, but I'm saying like we just don't know how to express our emotions without being deemed the exact opposite. Even though my girlfriend will never think of me as less feminine, in my head, from what I've been told and what I've been groomed to believe is true, it's hard.
You're gonna come off as
exactly, and you don't want to feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that sucks.
So, like for me, the solution. I mean, this is such a complicated topic, but in order for it to steer in the right direction, Hispanic families, Hispanic dads in general, have to be willingly able to be there for their sons in a way that it's okay. Like basically they got to be able to be okay with not making you feel like shit and compare everything to them and how they used to live, and they have to be more understanding, and the constant reminder of like, hey kid, I'm proud of you, I love you, or like, even if like your dad just like, hey, let's go do this, like,
yeah.
Like,
see, that's the thing though. Like
my dad does it, but not as much. You know what I'm saying? It's like once in a blue moon, my dad like, hey, let's go do this. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm down.
That plays such a big role in like the way you're feeling because.
And I feel bad for like the African American community. Like
like even just yesterday for me, like I got home from work, I was kind of tired, but then like. My whole family's like outside playing like volleyball or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, come play." So like, the weather's nice.
Like for my African American brothers, man, like that stigma that you guys have. It's important to have like that black father figure in your life. It's important, man, and I feel for you because like I have a dad and I feel this way. I can only imagine doing this shit on your own.
Right. Yeah, and that like I said, that should play such a big role in like
that would even be that would be so much worse. So like if you're a dad, if you're watching this and you're a dad, or if your dad is Hispanic, or if you're a Hispanic dad watching this, just fucking remind your kids that it's okay to talk to you, like that you're not gonna make them feel guilty. Remind them all, like physically say the words "I love you" because they hold so much power to a guy. Because now they start to believe like, hey, it's okay for me to be a little bit more emotional.
They start believing like my dad's
emotional, so I can be. It's okay for me to be emotional. But if I see my dad being a hard ass, I'm gonna try to mimic that because that's what I see every day.
Right, like
you know what I'm saying? Right. That we have to educate Hispanic families in general. Like, if you struggle with it, I understand, opening up to somebody is the hardest thing you could do. But do what I did. After so long, when you are ready, take action, sit down with mom and dad and be like, hey, mom, dad, I like, you know me, this is what I like doing. Look for these signs, like, if I start locking myself in my room, I don't hang out with friends. I'm like, look for these signs. That way they're able to be like, oh, they notice something that's off. Now they sit down with you and like, hey, let's do something. And they try to help you, because having that strong family support system is crucial in a Hispanic household, especially when everything's so family oriented. Another thing is, as guys, you and me, and to my guy friends, and guys in general, we have to be okay with like remind your fucking boys that you're there for them beyond the scope of just like financial means or some shit. Be like, remind your bros, be like, hey bro, like just saying, man, if you're going through some shit, you can talk to me. You can like, hey man, like if you really need somebody to talk to, I'll sit down and chat it up. Check up on your friends, man. Like a lot of people, the thing that pisses me off is a lot of people know that they're friends between like some super dark shit, and they just be like, "You okay, bro? Oh, okay, just checking in."
Yeah,
but it's never like it's never beyond that. It's never like, "Hey, man, like let's go out, like let me come over, like or let me like if you don't want to come out, that's fine. Let me come over and like sit down and let me as a guy make you as a guy feel like you're valued because I fucking love you. Remind your boys that you fucking love them because that shit also holds so much power, man. And another thing is like I said, previously, we as men in general, and especially as Hispanic men, we have to be able to grow our children and our boys into break that generational stigma of being super macho, being that alpha male persona. You got to be able to open up to your kids. Like I said, kids retain everything. So if you're like from the get go, if you're like oh I love you, son, up until they're 18, you're constantly reminding them. You're constantly because you could be in their life, but if you're not showing that emotional piece, you're still missing a big portion of a guy, of a guy's like development. You know what I'm saying? For me, those small things will help the overall issue, but I mean, there's still way more that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? But that's a really good place to start.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, like I said, people don't like hearing it. Yes, you don't have control of depression and what your brain is doing, but you are in control of what you can do to escape its hold. Because it just picture depression just choking you. Like you have the power to get those hands off your neck and like
it's not gonna be easy.
It's not gonna be easy. But if you really believe, if you really want to feel the opposite of what you're feeling now, by you taking action, it'll get better. I promise. I trust me. I was a firm believer that nothing was gonna get better, but the moment that the moment that I took actions for myself, things got better. Do I still struggle with this shit every single day, man?
Right.
Every single day, it's struggle. But like once I get, it takes a lot of training, a lot of programming in my own brain to be like, hey, this is temporary. It does get better. You have people that love you. Like, always remind yourself that, like, while you might not feel valued, that there's people that will fucking, like, would lose themselves if they lost you. Because you might not think about it in any kind of way, but you might not talk to someone, but they notice you. Like, it could be a classmate that sees you every single day. They might not talk to you, but the moment that, you're not there, they'll notice. They'll be like, hey, like, yo, what's going on? Like, people notice you, man. They might, like, just know that everything gets better. And be willing to talk to people. Like it's the hardest thing as a guy to open up to someone, but like slowly like get yourself to find someone that you find comfort in, and slowly, you don't have to open up, right then and there, but it's okay not to feel like you're not a burden. You matter, and things get better. Like those are the steps that I feel will help, steer mental health into a better direction. All the other shit that comes down to like political agenda and all these other factors, but that we're not gonna get into that because that's like fucking Newtonian law and like equations and shit, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I feel like that's a really good.
It's a really good topic. I mean, I've never really like given my parents credit, but like shout out to my parents.
Yeah, shout out to my parents for being super supportive and stuff. And if you're listening to this and you want to talk to, man, follow me on Twitter at whoiskylo. You could DM me, follow me, tweet at me, DM me, and I'm all ears, man. I love helping individuals. I love hearing people out. You could also hit up the National Suicide Hotline. I would plug the actual number here, but like quite frankly, I don't have it memorized. Educate yourself on how you feel. If you have the money, go see a therapist. If you have like good insurance, go see a therapist. If not, if you're a college student and you're broke, there's a lot of social workers who are literally miracle workers. They're there waiting for counselors. Colleges have really good individuals working for them. Check them out, utilize them. And like I said, this is from the perspective of a guy. So, if you're someone that doesn't struggle with it, remind your boys that you're there for them, that if they need someone to open up in an emotional manner, that they can, come to you as a guy. Because I'm telling you, man, those guy-to-guy connections, they do wonders.
Yes, sir. They do.
All that stuff adds up. Anyways, the beer that we drank, I didn't say it in the beginning. It's Mango from Port Brewing Co. It's double IPA. Tastes absolutely like mango. It is super bitter, but it has like hints of sweetness in it. They come in a pack of 4. It's $15, but you'll be drunk.
But it's pretty worth it.
Yeah, you'll be drunk after the 4. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. No, it's on a 1 of 5.
It's out of 5.
It's out of 5. I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah,
I'll give it a 3.5 as well. Pretty
Anyways, like I said,
pretty good beer.
Everything's gonna be linked down below for the visual people, audio people. At
audio people will be
at 2DNSB podcast on Twitter and Instagram. No, on Instagram.
You just have it like here. Oh shit.
We'll we'll figure it out. Follow us, like, subscribe, do what you got to do. And like I said, reach out to me, reach out to anyone that you know who's struggling with it. Look out for the signs, educate yourself, and that'll kind of, make everything point in the right direction to better tackle this on a Hispanic cultural perspective and as a whole. But that wraps it up.
That's it.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see you again next week. We'll hope to have this up as soon as we can. I really enjoyed this episode. Hopefully, if you're Latino, Hispanic, or whatever, that you were able to relate to this, especially if you're a guy. But yeah, see you next week.